I'm Siddiqa Tehsin Fatima, Associate Professor of Lord's Institute of Engineering and Technology, Hyderabad. Today, I'm going to discuss about listening skill. You know very well that listening is one of the important skills to be developed in communication. Imagine that a member of your team in a meeting with potential clients involuntarily kept yawning. This behavior would obviously put the clients off. Their professional evaluation of your organization would be negative and they might not want to go ahead with their proposal. We definitely not want someone dozing off when we are speaking to them. Likewise, we should attentively listen when someone else is addressing us. However, it is not just psychology that makes way for such lack of interest in the listening activity. Listening is similar to reading. No communication process is complete without listening, and most of us are more interested in speaking than listening others. Listening is used by all of us, but we get little training in this. So today we'll discuss how we can train ourselves in developing listening skill. To develop listening skill, it means that we have to first understand what is listening. Listening is the first of the four skills in communication that initiates the path for the other three skills such as speaking, reading, and writing. So let us see the definition of listening. It is nothing but the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. Let's see more details of listening. It is a purposeful activity and focused one. It requires attention and concentration from the listener. It is conscious and voluntary activity, paying attention not only to the story, but during listening, we also concentrate how it is told. We also check what is the use of the language, how is the voice of the speaker, and how the person or the speaker uses his or her body language. But in the name of listening, what people do most of the time is hearing. Let us see how these two terms can be distinguished. We know very well it is rightly said, hearing is through ears, but listening is through mind. The two activities, hearing and listening, involve the use of ears, but they are different. Hearing refers to the sounds that enter your ears. It is a physical process and happens automatically. Let's see some more differences between listening and hearing. Let us see first about hearing. As we have already seen, it is one's ability to perceive sounds by receiving vibration through ears. Hearing is an ability. It is a physiological act. It involves receipt of message through ears. It is a passive bodily process and it occurs at subconscious level, and hearing uses only one sense, and in hearing concentration is not required. We are neither aware nor we have any control over the sounds we hear. These are some of the important points of hearing. Let's see how it is different from listening. Listening is done consciously, that involves the analysis and understanding of the sounds you hear. It is a skill. We have seen about hearing that it is an ability. Listening here is a skill. It is a psychological activity. It involves interpretation of the message received by ears. It is an active mental process and it occurs at conscious level. It uses more than one sense, and in listening, concentration is required. We listen to acquire knowledge and receive information. Let's see the purpose of listening. The major purpose of listening is to focus on the messages that is being communicated, avoiding distractions and preconceptions. Another purpose is to gain a full and accurate understanding into the speaker's point of view and ideas. It critically assesses what is being said. Its another purpose is to observe the non-verbal signals accompanying what is being said to enhance understanding. Another purpose of listening is to show interest, concern, and concentration. To encourage the speaker to communicate fully, openly, and honestly. To develop a selfless approach, putting the speaker first. To arrive at a shared and agreed understanding and acceptance of both sides' views. Let's see now the importance of listening skill. It is one of the first means of acquiring information. It is also one of the first means of learning a new language. It helps in solving the problem. It helps in framing plans and policies to share information. One of the major importance of listening skill is decision making. To know the organization, to develop better relations, and to provide encouragement. Now let's see the listening process. In order to train ourselves fully, we must know the listening process. There are 5 steps in listening process: receiving, understanding, remembering, evaluating, responding. Quickly we'll see what we understand about receiving. It is the intentional focus on learning the speaker's message. Understanding, at this stage, the listener attempts to learn the meaning of the message, the learner's knowledge level, experiences, and perception influence his understanding. The third step is remembering. In this stage, what has been understood is processed meaningfully and put to memory. The next step is evaluating. In this stage, the value or sense of the message received is judged. The sense message may seem valuable or purposeless depending on the listener experiences, biases, etc. The last step is responding. It is like a feedback to what has been received. It indicates in words, gestures, or deeds the listener's involvement or participation in the conversation. Let's proceed further. Again, in order to understand listening, we have to see the types of listening. There are 5 types of listening, that is critical listening, pseudo listening, appreciative listening, empathetic listening, and comprehensive listening. Let's see the details of each type. The first type of listening is also known as passive or pseudo listening. Here, the listener is not attentive and does not go beyond a superficial understanding of the message. The information of the speaker is listened to in bits and pieces rather than the whole of it. This is most likely to occur when we are tired, bored, or not interested in what being said. For example, during long lectures or presentations that you are not interested in. So you become a passive listener. When an acquaintance is telling you a story that you do not care about. Let's see the next type of listening, that is appreciative listening. Here, the listener enjoys what he or she is hearing. The message is something that appeals to the listener. This usually occurs during leisurely or pleasurable activities or in the company of people we enjoy spending time with. For example, we mostly enjoy the music. Listening to stand-up comedy or an entertaining speech. Let's see the third type of listening, that is emphatic listening. Here, the listener puts himself, her or herself in the position of the speaker and tries to understand the viewpoint of the speaker. The listener attempts to decipher the meaning of the speaker's statements in relation to the perceptions and experience of the speaker. This is usually done to understand someone's point of view and build healthy relationships. For example, when we are listening to a friend talk about her or his problems. Here again, another example, listening to resolve a conflict at work or simply a counseling session. Another type of listening is comprehensive listening. The listener tries to understand the message of the speaker. The listener pays attention to non-verbal cues such as gestures, body language, tone, etc., and anticipates what the speaker is going to say and verifies the received message by commenting, asking questions, etc. This occurs when we are interested in what is being said and or when we believe the message to be of use to us. For example, listening to instructions or directions, listening to a classroom lecture while taking notes, or simply a question answer session. The last type of listening is critical listening. The listener listens in an order to evaluate or judge the message. The listener pays special attention to the logic of the argument, strength of evidence, validity of the conclusions, implications of the message, and speaker's motives. This is a higher order skill which is employed when we need to examine or judge the message. Listening to a sales pitch is one of the example. Another example is listening to a debate, listening to a politician's campaign speech. Now, let us proceed to the barriers of effective listening. Generally, when we are listening, we have so many barriers and which affects the listening. Let's see the barriers of effective listening. The first barrier is physical barrier, physiological barriers, attitudinal or psychological barriers, linguistic barriers, and socio-cultural barriers. Let's see the details of each. Physical barrier. Physical barrier here means some of the environmental factors such as temperature rise, noise and distance, visual barriers if we could not see anything, interruptions encountered by the speaker. Let's see physiological barrier. Physiological barrier could be just a pain somewhere in our body or simply a headache. Then physiological barrier is hearing impairment. We are unable to hear anything. Hunger and tiredness, arriving late for a speech, presentation or a lecture, judging the speaker by his or her mannerism, voice, appearance, accent, etc. Let's see the next barrier, that is attitudinal barrier, that is lack of interest or simply lack of concentration, prejudgment about the speaker, negative opinion, listening with a disapproving attitude to the speaker's ideas. Even the ego is also attitudinal barrier involved with self. Let's see the next barrier, that is linguistic or semantic barrier. It actually refers to the language, like we have some language barrier in the form of difficult word, that is use of difficult words or jargon, speaker's style of speaking, or simply mispronounce words. Let's see the next one, that is social culture barrier. We mostly have barrier because of difference in cultural background, religious backgrounds, gender barrier, or simply sense of time. Let's proceed to the next one, that though we have barriers, how we can still develop our listening skills. So here are some of the strategies for effective listening. First of all, we have to be open minded. And while listening, we have to control our emotions and always try to listen for the gist or central theme. Even when we are concentrating on the central theme or the gist, concentrate on the non-verbal cues, pay attention to implied content, make a note of the major points, give a feedback whatever you have listened to, maintain eye contact, avoid distractions, and understand the speaker's point of view. So these were the strategies to develop listening skill. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel.